Hello everyone, getting everything started. Pardon me. Oh, I do have water today, so that's a good thing. Alright, we're gonna listen to some music to start with, and then we'll get into it. First song is called Purify My House, and it is a blend of Middle Eastern music and language with more modern and English. So, here we go.
In the quiet of the desert, where the ancient ones still roam, God called upon his servant to prepare the sacred home. Abraham, my faithful one, stand where Elysian flows, for here shall rise the house of God, where every seeker goes. وإذ بوأنا لإبراهيم مكان البيت وإذ بوأنا لإبراهيم مكان البيت. And remember when we assigned to Abram the site of the house, and لا تشرك بي شيئا, Allah تشرك بي شيئا, associate nothing with. وطهر بيتي للطائفين والقائمين والركع السجود. وطهر بيتي للطائفين والقائمين وركع السجود. Purify my heart for those who circle in devotion, for those who stand in prayer, for those who bow and fall in prostration. Abraham raised the walls with tears, with Ishmael by his side, stone by stone in reverence, with humility, not pride. And the desert heard the promise, and the angels watched it rise, a house for every nation under ever-watching skies. بيتي للطائفين. My house is for those who circle in remembrance. وطهر بيتي للطائفين والقائمين والركع السجود. وطهر بيتي للطائفين الطائفين والقائمين والركع السجود. For those who stand, bow and prostrate and pray. وطهر بيتي للطائفين والقائمين والركع السجود. وطهر بيتي للطائفين والقائمين والركع السجود. Purify my heart, let every heart draw near, let every soul What the Holy stands here. هذا بيت السلام، هذا بيت الدعاء، هذا بيت السلام، هذا بيت الدعاء. This is the house of peace. This is the house of prayer, where the footsteps of the faithful rise like incense in the air. وطهر بيتي للطائفين والقائمين والركع السجود. وطهر بيتي للطائفين والقائمين والركع السجود. Purify my house, O Lord. Let every seeker come, for the house you showed to Abraham still calls your people home.
All right. Before another song starts getting on, we'll start the sermon. I'm glad you are all here. Thank you. This is your daily dose of elevation, leveling up your spirit one stream at a time. Thank you for being here. We're going to get into this. I'm going to move my screens around. Hold on. Before the mountains were brought forth. This is a Sunday Interfaith sermon on love, eternity, and our sacred belonging to one another. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is that you are, in whatever time zone or whatever you're in. Welcome, every single one of you, to this hour set apart from the noise and the hurry of our ordinary lives. Whether you have traveled a great distance to be here, or whether you're simply rolled out of bed, followed the pull in your chest that said go, found me on your stream, or just relaxing in your own bed at home. Maybe you haven't even got up for the day. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You found me, and thank you. This morning we're going to move across time and tradition, across mountains and centuries, across the ancient East and deep south of Africa, across the mystic caves of Middle East. Sorry. It's still early for me too. I just rolled out of bed. We're going to also visit the mystic caves of medieval England and the sunlit harbor of a Lebanese port. We're going to listen for the voice that runs like a thread through all of it, like we touched on yesterday, that invisible thread that holds the pearls together. The voice that was speaking before we had the ears to hear, and that will still be speaking long after our last breath dissolves into the morning air. We begin where everything begins, before the beginning. Open your hearts to the ancient prayer of Moses, recorded in the 19th Psalm. 90th Psalm, sorry. Psalms 90, verses 2 and 4. It says, "Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hadst formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday, and when it is past, and as a watch in the night." Sit with that for a moment. Before the mountains, before the earth had a name, before the first light broke across any horizon, God, and however you wish to name that God, already was. And 1,000 years, like yesterday, in the blink of an eye. Think of the civilizations that have risen and crumbled in what amounts in the sight of the eternal to an afternoon nap. Think of all the generations of grandmothers and grandfathers who wept and laughed and loved and were buried. And to the ancient one, it was the passing of a single watch in the night. We are not, as we sometimes feel, lost in the expanse of time. We are held by the one for whom time is not a river rushing past, but a still pool in which every moment is equally fully present. Time is a concept that we made to understand what goes on from moment to moment. But to the great one, to the divine, time is but a still pool that it can look into at a moment's notice and see every moment. You are known fully, completely by the one who was before history had a first page and long before it'll have a last, long after. That's the foundation. That is the ground beneath our feet as we walk into this morning together. Now let us move east, across deserts and mountains, to the words spoken by Krishna to the warrior Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I might not get all the words pronounced right, but I'm here to try, and that's the best we can do. Thousands of years ago, in the text the world calls the Bhagavad Gita, spoke in a voice that did not thunder from the clouds, but whispered from within the very substance of the created world. I am the taste in water, O son of Kunti, and the radiance of the sun and the moon. I am the sacred symbol Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and the ability in humans. This is Krishna, their name for God, speaking to a warrior saying, I am this. I am all of it. I am the taste in water. People tell me all the time, water has no taste. Hello. But water does have taste. You can taste the minerals and the sediments. Hello, son. Not hovering above it, not approving of it from a distance. The taste itself. Not only is the divine one above, around, but in everything. When you drink a cool glass of water on a hot summer afternoon and something in you sighs with gratitude, that moment of recognition, that small, almost involuntary at the end of the drink, thank you, that rises before you can think to suppress it, that is encounter. That is the divine tasting itself through you. The divine lives in you and through you and all around you, all at the same time. says, I am the radiance of the sun. Every sunrise that has ever made you stop mid-stride and forget just for a moment what you were worried about, that was not just light. That was presence. That was being in the presence of the divine in those small moments. I am the sound in ether, the sound of a loved one calling your name. Have you ever been sitting in a room that is completely empty, and then all of a sudden you think you hear someone scream your name at the top of their lungs? Well, that's the divine. A piece of music that moves through your chest like weather, the first cry of a newborn, all of it, all of it. The sound and ether, the divine singing. I'll pause for just a moment. Blossom Cormac, do I have any useless abilities? Everything can be useless or useful depending on how you view it. So I guess a useless ability, I can talk to cats. I can talk to animals, but that's useful at the same time. I can grow wings out of my back, but again, to some, that's useful. It's entertaining. And then there are those four extraordinary words, the ability in humans. Not just nature, not just the cosmos, but the ability in you, your courage, your creativity, your tenderness, your persistence when the world tells you to quit. Take up your cross and bear it. Those burdens that you have, those baggages you think no one else will help you carry, they're yours. Pick them up, carry them. But they're not yours alone, because the one that created you carried them as well and is continuing to carry them with you. They are the divine expressing through the vessel of your particular unrepeatable life. Nobody can be you, and nobody can give the divine the experience of your life but you. That's pretty cool. That's pretty flexible, Blossom. We're not separated from the sacred. We are saturated with it. Centuries after the Bhagavad Gita in the desert revelation of the Quran, the divine offers not a description, but an invitation, a command even. And it is one of the most breathtaking commands ever given to a human heart. It says, travel throughout the land and see how he originated the creation. He, as in Allah. Allah will bring it into being one more time. Surely Allah is most capable of everything. Again, this is Allah, this is the Quran, this is the Muslim word for God. In the Hermetics, it's the all. We have 10,000 different names for the divine. I am not that flexible, Blossom. Travel. Go. Move your body through the world. Do not sit in your house of certainties and your comfortable assumptions about what the divine looks like. Go out into the land and witness how it all began. I mentioned the other day that I once had a conversation with God, and God revealed to me that God sees himself in all of us. Go experience that. Experience other people, other perspectives of that God. There's scripture commanding us to be present, to be mindful, to be in the moment. That's why we teach it in mental health. To lift our eyes from our small interior dramas and let the wide world preach to us. Nature. Go outside and just listen to the birds. The mountains preach, the tide preaches, the migration of birds preaches, the way a seed cracks open in the dark soil and reaches without being told toward light. That is a sermon more eloquent than anything delivered from a pulpit, anything I could ever deliver or anyone else. And then the promise. The same power that began creation will bring it into being one more time. What has been broken will be made whole again. What has been lost will be found. What appears to be over is not over. The one who authored the beginning, has not yet written the final word. You were started. There was a plan started in you, and it's not done yet. Go and see. Trust what you witness. The creation is speaking of its creator. If only we will travel far enough into it and see. Now we'll hear from the prophet Isaiah. And listen carefully, because he's about to say something that should stop your breath. He says, O Lord, thou art my God, and I will exalt thee. I will praise thy name, for thou hast done wonderful things. Thy counsels of old are faithfulness and truth. Isaiah 25:1. And in that moment, we're going to play another song. Let me get it ready for you. Oh, let me share the screen for these other folks. All right. Just focus on the music for a moment.
I lay my burdens down where the quiet waters run, where the world grows soft and silent, in the shadow of the one. All the noise that tried to claim me, all the storms that filled my chest, fall away like broken feathers as my soul returns to rest. Let me abide in peace. Let every care be gone. Let the weight of all my sorrows be lifted by his dawn. For when I take no account of the troubles that increase, I serve him in his pleasure when I simply abide in peace. I'd have chased 1,000 answers, I have fought 1,000 fears, but the stillness of his presence washes clean the wasted years. And the world may rise around me, but it cannot shake my core. For the heart that rests in heaven is not troubled anymore. Let me abide in peace. Let every care be gone. Let the weight of all my sorrows be lifted by his dawn. For when I take no account of the troubles that increase. I serve him in his pleasure when I simply abide in peace. Oh, the world is full of shadows, but his light is never dim. And the soul that leans in quiet finds its refuge deep in him. So I breathe out all my striving. Let the restless moments cease. For the holiest devotion is to live in perfect peace. Let me abide in peace. Let every care release. For the heart that rests in God finds its everlasting peace. And when I take no account of the storms that never cease, I serve him in his pleasure when I simply abide in peace.
Woo! All right. Some great music there. Let's get back to this sermon, shall we? Thy counsels of old, plans formed long ago, faithful and true. This is the God that we serve, in whatever name you choose to call him. This means that what is happening in your life right now, this very season, this very struggle, whatever you're going through, this very opening, even meeting me here today, this was not an accident. It was not oversight. It was not something the divine scrambled to address. Before the mountains were brought forth, before the world had a shape, the plans were already laid out for you to be here today. And those plans were characterized by two things: faithfulness and truth. Not cruelty, not randomness, not indifference, faithfulness, which means the author of your story, the creator of your life, is committed to that story and that life, not merely watching it from a distance, but leaning in, invested, unwilling to abandon the ark before it reaches its fullness. And truth, not flattering fiction, not the comfortable lie, but truth, sometimes even brutal, which at every growing soul knows is sometimes difficult and sometimes surprising and sometimes nothing like we expected it to be, but always, always leading somewhere that faithfulness has already prepared. You didn't come this morning by accident. These ancient words were not written for the ancient world alone. They were counsels of old, waiting for this moment, this congregation, this ear, this heart, this mind. We must pause here and speak of love itself. Every sermon touches on love because that is what God is. And for that, we turn to one of the most mysterious and beautiful texts in the entire Christian mystical tradition, an anonymous work of the 14th century known as The Cloud of Unknowing. Its author, a monk, a contemplative, a person who had gone very far into the interior life, wrote this: "Beat evermore on this cloud of unknowing that is betwixt thee and thy God with a sharp dart of longing love." Yesterday we talked about the longing love acting as a dart to pierce the cloud of unknowing as well. A sharp dart of longing love, not an argument, not a theological proof, not a well reasoned case for the existence of the divine, a dart, an arrow shot from the bow of the human heart, not seeing where it lands, not certain of the target, but driven by something that has no other name than longing love. If you've ever felt this, you know what I'm talking about. When you have lost everything, but you have this overwhelming longing love, to be loved and to love in return. The medieval mystics understood something that our age has largely forgotten, that God is not primarily an idea to be grasped, but a mystery to be loved. Never to unravel the mystery itself, but to be enveloped in its glory. The cloud between us and the divine is not an obstacle to be demolished by cleverness. It is the very space in which love operates, the space of not knowing, of surrendering the need to control and comprehend and possess, and simply stretching out the hands of the heart toward the one who is, in the end, beyond all our categories. To never truly grasp it wholly, but to witness a portion of its glory. This is what unites every tradition we have visited this morning. The Hindu who finds the divine in the taste of water, and the Christian who pierces the cloud with longing love, and the Muslim who travels the earth and sees, all of them are practicing the fundamental act, the act of turning toward, of reaching, of the soul insisting in the face of all uncertainty that there is something there and I will not stop reaching for it. Now, I want to bring it back into a voice from ancient Rome, a voice that some of you may not expect in a Sunday sermon, but which belongs here just as surely as any scripture. The Stoic philosopher Seneca, writing letters to his friend Lucilius, interesting names back then, nearly 2,000 years ago, made an observation that haunted me ever since I first encountered it. He was speaking of the great minds of the past, the philosophers, the poets, the sages, and he said something to the effect of this: "We cannot choose the family in which we are born, but we can choose whose children we become. We choose our inheritance by what we love, by what we study, by what we allow to form us." Think about that. You may not have had a choice about the family that raised you, with all its gifts and all its wounds, but you chose every day whose child you will be in spirit and mind and heart. Every book you open, you're saying, "Teach me." Every tradition you honor, every wisdom you receive into your bones and carry forward, you are saying, "I will be your child. I will continue your line. I will not let what you knew die with you." This morning, by being here, by listening to the Psalms and the Gittas and the Quran and the prophet and the mystic and the philosopher, you're choosing your lineage. You're saying, "I will be a child of all of this because you are in all of this. I will not belong to one narrow stream because you are the great vast ocean. I will not swim in the great river where all the swim in the great river where all the streams meet, in that great ocean that is you. You are choosing right now whose child you will become." And this brings us to one of the most tender teachings I know, one that flows through an Asian and Eastern spiritual tradition, from Buddhism to Hinduism to the ancient Tao. And it's simply this: the child chose you. Before the small body arrived, before the first heartbeat was visible on any screen, the soul in that realm between lives looked across the whole of creation, looked at the particular constellations of a family, its strengths, its sorrows, its history, and its longing, and said, there, that's where I need to go. Those are the ones I choose. In Asian cultures, the children, the spirit, knew the line that it needed to travel to get to the destination, to be what it needed to be, to serve the purpose of the divine. And it chose that path. I want you to sit with that for a moment, especially if you are a parent in this room, or a grandparent, or an aunt, uncle, a godparent, anyone who has been trusted with the formation of a child's life. That soul chose you, not because you were perfect, not because you had everything figured out, but because something in the internal, eternal, recognized something in you, a lesson that needed a learning, a love that needed giving or receiving, a wound that needed healing, a gift that needed a particular soil in which to grow. You may say to yourself, I wouldn't have picked the family that I grew up in. I wouldn't have picked the abuse that I went through. You may not have, but your soul did, for your greater purpose in the long run, in the divine, in the bigger picture. You weren't assigned a child, you were chosen by one as well. And here's what the great traditions agree on: the act of choosing was not random, it was faithful, it was true, it was one more instance of those ancient councils Isaiah sang about. Plans formed long ago, working themselves out through the ordinary miracles of a particular face arriving in this world and finding its way to you. And now Khalil Gibran, the Lebanese poet whose masterwork, The Prophet, has found its way into more homes and hearts than almost any book of the 20th century. The Prophet speaks of the children this way: your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's, big L, longing for itself, God's longing for itself, to experience life. They came through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams, because they are not your tomorrows. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth into the world. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, like that his arrows might go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, he loves also the bow that is stable. Be that bow to your children. You are the bows, not the destination, not the owner, the bow. And what does a bow do? It bends, it receives the pressure, it holds steady under the tension that would, if the bow were rigid, break it. But then, in the moment of release, it gives everything it has to the flight of another, not for itself, but for another. To be a parent, to be a community, to be a people of faith is to be a bow, to bend, to hold, to release, to trust the archer who sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, even when we cannot. And notice the archer loves both. The arrow that flies and the bow that is stable, both are beloved, both are necessary. The work of holding steady, of being the place where the next generation finds their footing before they launch, that work is loved. It's not secondary. It's not less than the soaring itself. Your stability is a form of love. Your faithfulness is a form of flight. Before we continue, we'll have another pause, intermission for music, and then we will continue on. So let me get the song ready. This is one of my favorite songs, actually. It's called What He Really Said. I always do that. I share, but I forget to share the sound with you. All right.
Flip the tables in the temple, money changes running. Said a meek inherit earth, not the ones who stunting. Camels through a needle's eye, the rich stay bluffing, hoarding all the treasure. Hearts full of nothing, blessed are the peacemakers, not the war machines, not the Pharisees scheming in their holy routines. Bread for the hungry, wine for the masses, not a kingdom of gold, but love that surpasses.
What he really said, it ain't what they talk. Not the greed, not the hate, not the battle's fought. Turn the other cheek, break the chains instead. Open up your heart, that's what Jesus really said. What he really said, it ain't what they talk. Not the greed, not the hate, not the battle's fought. Turn the other cheek, break the chains instead. Open up your heart, that's what Jesus really said. Feet in the dust, sandals worn to the thread. Walking with the outcast, raising the dead. He said forgive them, even when it's tough. Said love your enemies, this world's corrupt. No stones for the sinner, who among is clean? He drew in the dirt, exposed the unseen. Parables for the people, truths in disguise. Told them plant good seeds, see the harvest rise. What he really said, it ain't what they taught. Not the greed, not the hate, not the battle's fought. Turn the other cheek, break the chains instead. Open up your heart, that's what Jesus really said. What he really said, it ain't what they taught. Not the greed, not the hate, not the battle's fought. Turn the other cheek, break the chains instead. Open up your heart, that's what Jesus really said.
Not a throne, not a crown, no empire to grow. Just a kingdom of faith in the hearts it'll show. Not a throne, not a crown, no empire to grow. Just a kingdom of faith in the hearts it'll show.
What he really said, it ain't what they talk. Not the greed, not the hate, not the battle's fought. Turn the other cheek, break the chains instead. Open up your heart, that's what Jesus really said. That's what Jesus really said. That's what Jesus really said. That's what Jesus really said.
Love, that was the message. From the south of Africa comes a word that has no precise equivalent in English: Ubuntu. It comes from the Zulu Xhosa traditions, and it carries within it one of the most profound ethical teachings any culture has ever produced. Ubuntu means I am because we are. Not I think, therefore I am. We are, therefore I am. My humanity is not something I possess independently. It's something I inhabit only in relationship. To be fully human is to be in community. If we even take it back to Genesis, one was created and then another for companionship. Without it, we had nothing. And we were created just to be companionship in essence. And whatever culture you choose to believe, God created us to be companions. It is the very expression of it. To care for the widow, the orphan, the stranger at the gate is not a sacrifice of my humanity. It's the expression of it. To serve one another. I commented on a post today and that says, you know, it talked about being crucified and says, nobody asked you to be. And one said, I am. Take up your cross. And there's more deeper meaning to that. It's take up your cross and bear it. Bear that humanity. Live sacrificially, even unto death. It is when I see you, I find myself. When I turn away from you, I diminish not only you, but the person I'm capable of being. Each one of you is a teacher and a student. I myself am not just a teacher, I'm a student. Answering the question in the audience, R. Lawrence, what do I put in it? Well, I do rosemary and mint hair oil, some Dove fresh coconut dry shampoo. I wash it once a week and let it sun dry. This is actually pretty dead. I had to kill my hair to do this to it, but death to the ego to live through the Lord, sort of thing. But thank you. I don't put a lot in it. I just rosemary and mint mostly. The traditional Zulu greeting, Zawabana. Oh, Zawubona. I don't know how to pronounce these exactly, so if I get it wrong, I apologize. It's Sawubona, Sawubona. It means I see you. That's how they greet each other. Not hi, hello, how are you? I see you. Not I acknowledge your existence, not I note your presence in my vicinity, but I see you. I recognize in you what is most alive, what is most real, most worthy of regard. And the response, Ngikhona, Ngikhona, means I am here. Because of your seeing me, I am more fully here. They literally say, I see you. And in response, because they are seen, they are there. Ubuntu says, we do not arrive at our fullness alone. We arrive together. We don't arrive at all. Oh, the feathers, they're just string attachments. Thank you. So the question this morning is not only how do I believe? The question is who do I see? Who do I allow to be fully present in my sight? Who am I in the community with? Hence why I respond to the comments. Refusing community, with whom am I lessening my own humanity? Let me ask those questions again. Who do I see? Who do I allow to be fully present in my sight? Who am I in community with? And in refusing community, with whom am I lessening my own humanity? Who are you refusing to allow in your life? And The bow, as Gibran said, needs the archer, and the archer, as Ubuntu insists, needs the village from which the bow was shaped. We belong to one another. We are because we are together. Now we come to the most practical portion of our morning, the portion that takes all of these high and beautiful teachings and asks us to do something with our hands and our wallets and our calendars and our city. I'm not going to be asking for any donations. That's not why I'm here. Those tithes don't belong to me, but to the one that created you. The ancient book of Deuteronomy contains one of the most radical economic instructions in all of religious literature. Listen, it says, "At the end of 3 years, thou shalt bring forth all of the tithe of thine increases the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates." It says, bring all of your tithes that you've gathered. Bring it into the gate. If there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren with any of thy gates in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thy hearts, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother. I'm going to read that in plain English. It says, if there is anyone among you who is poor, one of your brethren, your neighbors, that is within the gates in the land which the Lord, the God, created, don't harden your heart against them. Don't shut your hand from your poor brother. You shall open thy hand wide unto him, and you shall surely lend him sufficient from his need in that which he wanteth. Thou shalt open thine hand wide. Not crack it open, just a little. Not open it to a socially acceptable degree. Wide. Completely. Like imagine a hug. You got to spread your arms wide to hug somebody. You can't hug them like, oh, that's not a real hug. Completely. As wide as a hand will open. Stretch it. Every third year, the tithe, the full 10%, was not taken to the temple, not stored for the priestly class. It was laid up within the gates in the city for the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, the widow, for the ones who had no land, for the ones the system had left behind. Maybe if we did that, we would have less homeless on the street and more homes created for them. It's not an add-on to the spiritual life. In Deuteronomy's vision, these were their duties. This is the spiritual life, to give to those less fortunate. You cannot separate the love of the eternal from the love of the neighbor who is hungry within your gates. When you walk past a homeless person and you don't even think to offer them a piece of breath mint from your purse, what does that say about you? You cannot say you've encountered the divine in the taste of water and then turn away from someone who has no clean water to drink. We take drinking water for granted, and there are people on the streets who don't even have that. The cloud of unknowing teaches us to pierce the cloud with longing love, but longing love that never finds its way to bread for the neighbor, to an open hand for the poor, to a portion of our increase laid within the gates of our city. That longing love has not yet completed its journey. The Quran sends us traveling through the land to see how creation was originated. We cannot take that journey and return unchanged by what we see, by who we see on the margins of the road. Take, for instance, the Samaritan, the Good Samaritan story. Priestly people walked past this poor, beaten man on the road. His own people walked past and did nothing to help him. But a complete stranger, one who knew him not, saw him and helped him. Ubuntu says, I am because we are. If my neighbor is not flourishing, something in me is diminished. My wholeness is bound up in theirs. And so the most self-interested thing I can do is the deepest sense of the word, in the deepest sense of the word, is to open my hand wide. This is ancient counsel. It is faithful, it is true, and it addressed today, this morning, to us. So here we are then, children of an eternity that was loving before the mountains were brought forth, vessels of a divine that tastes itself in every drop of water, travelers called to witness the creation and let it change us, heirs of faithful ancient plans, bow benders in the hand of the archer, Ubuntu people who are only fully ourselves when we see each other, truly see each other, and reach through the gates with open hands. You do not come to the morning by accident. You didn't come to this stream. Whether you know it yet or not, the soul that is you chose to be here, chose this community, this season, this particular intersection of teachings from east and west, from prophet and poet, from mystic and philosopher and grandmother and a poet of Lebanon. Go into this week as someone who has been reminded of what they already know in the deepest parts of themselves. The divine is in the water you drink, in the light that wakes you, in the sound of voices you love. Travel and see. Open your hands. Bend in the archer's grip with gladness. Be that for someone else. When you greet the person beside you, behind you, on the street, whether in this room or in the grocery store or at the gate of your city, let your eyes say what the Zulu tradition has always known how to say. Sawubona. I see you. Because you do. Because seeing one another is how we remember who we are. Because we are here. Because we are together. Go in peace, in love, in the counsel of old and faithful and true. Blessings to you all. This has been your daily dose of elevation, leveling up your spirit, one stream at a time.